Hi, my name is Emil. Today I'm excited to introduce the IBM Code Assistant for Ansible. I will start with a brief overview and then dive into a live demo. At IBM, we are seeing a huge potential in generative AI for the enterprise. In fact, 80% of enterprises are either working with or planning to use foundation models to adopt generative AI. This trend is expected to bring significant impacts and has driven substantial investments in this area. With generative AI, there are quite a few areas where employees can gain productivity. So there are, of course, different use cases. And today I would like to focus on IT processes. So this is really focusing on how GenAI can aid with Ansible automation for IT. So I'm introducing the IBM Watsonx Code Assistant for Red Hat Ansible Lightspeed. It's your pair programming buddy specifically for Ansible. This code assistant was developed in collaboration with Red Hat, and this assistant then is using both Watsonx foundation models, Granite models, and the Red Hat Ansible Lightspeed, which is bringing in and enriching this assistant with the best practices from sources like Red Hat Ansible Galaxy. The objectives are to increase productivity for automation developers and make it easier to get started with Ansible. We want to help Ansible developers be more productive, reduce the learning curve for new users, and improve the quality of Ansible content by helping developers follow the best practice. Here is how it works. The assistant is available as a plugin in Visual Studio Code in your development IDE. You will write a prompt in natural language. You just write in English text, and through this integration with Ansible Lightspeed, the assistant will generate a recommendation, a piece of code for your YAML document. It will write a piece of Ansible code that will satisfy what you're trying to do. Competing solutions like GitHub Copilot try to do a similar workflow. Some of the strong sides of this code assistant is, of course, a rich library of training data from Red Hat Ansible Galaxy through the Lightspeed integration, the transparency in training data of the Granite family of foundation models, and IBM's code assistant. There are some further strengths. For example, you can have this code assistant deployed as a SaaS and also as an on-premise deployment, which may be interesting for some. You can also customize the foundation model to suit your specific needs. I would like to show how the code assistant works in practice. I have Visual Studio Code, the development environment, and here I have a file for, it's basically a YAML document with some tasks that I would like to show you. I'm going to explain and then show how we can use the Ansible Code Assistant to generate Ansible Playbook based on step-by-step instructions for a set of tasks. Here I'm trying to install a cockpit, which is a visual interface to manage a Linux server. So I'm using Ansible then, the code assistant, to complete a playbook to install and enable the cockpit package. So I have this file with the instructions, and you see that, this is a Ansible document. It's a YAML file. And we have basically I have installed the Ansible extension. Within that, I have enabled the license for Ansible Automation Platform and enabled the Red Hat Ansible Lightspeed. And also I have ticked to enable Watsonx Code Assistant. So then we can to our YAML file. I'm just going to delete that. We see here that we are defining a task by making an indent and typing name, and then in natural language we are saying what we would like to do. The first step would be to install the cockpit package. I can then write that and press enter, and you'll see at the bottom that Lightspeed is now working. And if I press tab, I will accept this suggestion for the prompt. That's what we are seeing here, and we're also seeing in a basic explanation that we are getting this as the reply for installing cockpit package, that we should define a fully qualified collection name, which is Ansible built-in package with the name cockpit, and ensure that this package is present. This is basically to show the process here, because there will also be a step where you have to copy this configuration file, and you'll see that Ansible is a solution for this as well. I'm actually not very skilled in Ansible at all, so I would probably have to spend some time verifying that this is correct. You could probably imagine that someone who has maybe even done a similar thing before and has more experience with Ansible has a lot of time in making these, basically writing the code. There's an example that we follow Ansible best practice by setting the file permissions seen in the mode for this file. We also, to start and enable the service, process is the same. It's recommended that you wait for some seconds and listen on port 9090. When we're making these prompts, we see that the Ansible terminal is also giving us information on it's giving the recommendation from. So you'll see that there is a link going to Ansible Galaxy. So there's some built-in transparency. The last thing I want to show is an example where I'm trying to create a VM in Azure. We can see that it's possible to define different variables to be included in Playbook. I can ask the assistant to create such a VM based on those. So you'll see here that instead of just defining the values itself, it will reference all of the variables set up here. So it's kind of context aware. Another feature is the explain current playbook. The idea here is that maybe a new Ansible developer like me have started a new job, and there may exist a library already of playbooks. And then it's pretty difficult as a person and understand everything that's going on. With this explain feature, you can take an existing playbook and have Ansible make text that guides what this playbook is really doing. See here that it's explaining that this playbook is creating an Azure VM based on configurations in the VM config. And you'll see step-by-step prerequisites and explanations for the tasks. Yeah, so thanks for this meeting. I hope this gave you some ideas for what you can do with the code assistant for Ansible Lightspeed. And as a next step, I think it would be for you to take in some of this information that I can send over to you. For the next steps, we can work together. I can guide you in setting up a free trial for Red Hat Ansible Lightspeed. Based on that, we can also guide you in defining the use cases with a pilot for this code assistant.